Hello again, and welcome to another edition of From the Bottom Up. We are reeling these out faster than you can imagine here. Today's edition is going to be taking us back to 1979 for Supertramp Breakfast in America, which hit the stores on March 16th in 79. Their sixth studio album. It's gone four times platinum and peaked at number one for six straight weeks. Produced by Peter Henderson and Supertramp, the 10-track album is a masterpiece. Needless to say, when I first started to rank this one, I was thinking, okay, well, the four songs, that everybody knows are probably going to be my one through four, and then I'll just, everything else will just fall into place after that. But man, little did I know what I was in for. This album, over time, this album has really uh, hit it home for me. I really enjoy the whole album, and man, just to go through these songs and listen to them, it's like whew, that made it really tough for me. So here's what we got. Here's just what I came up with. I'm only giving you what I feel my order is, and give me what your order is. I want to see what everybody else thinks because this one is one of those albums where it's really hard to make a judgment on some of these. So I've got for my number 10, Casual Conversations, the Davies song that seemed to define the relationship of Hodgson and Davies at the time. Yeah, it's interesting how these guys were writing about each other kind of in a couple of these songs. Yeah, it's just amazing how all the tensions and everything that went into making this album, how these guys were able to make such a unique and cohesive album. This is like their best album ever for them. And, they really knocked this one out of the park despite everything there. So 10 casual conversations. Nine, I've got the leadoff track, which kind of features both vocalists here. And it's one of the two songs that kind of take you back to earlier Supertramp in a way because of there seemed like a lot of the songs on this album were kind of polished, but this is one that kind of reminds you of old style Supertramp, and that's Gone Hollywood. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I like it. I just don't like it as much as I like everything above it, but Gone Hollywood is a decent track, and just feel it's just not as strong as the other stuff on the album, but definitely, like I said, this is one that's one album that every song is good on. So we got that going for us. There's no slouches here. So that's what we got for that one. Number eight, Child of Vision is the longest song on the album. And that's another one that kind of takes you back to that old style of Supertramp without the polishing and the shortness. It's a nice long song that really sets the tone here. Um, I think it's one of the highlights on the album. Just it's weird when you got it at number eight, but that's what I have. Number seven, interesting song here. I wasn't really too all familiar with this one, but I've got just another Nervous Wreck, another Rick Davies classic. His another standout of his. And one thing I noticed, it's a shame that obviously Roger left way back in like 1985 when Famous Last Words tour was over. I'm just surprised that when these guys did get back together without Roger and play a couple tours, that they didn't touch the Davies songs on this album like you would hope. Yeah, they played Goodbye Stranger, but they only focused on three hits, and I was kind of surprised that they didn't stick one like this one in the set. That would have been great. A great song, just another Nervous Wreck. So I was just surprised by that. And then supposedly, then you hear that there was some type of an agreement where Davies would not play any Hodgson songs unless they were co-writes. and supposedly it was just a handshake or something. It wasn't anything legally, that you could hold Davies to. And of course, they ended up playing like Breakfast in America and The Logical Song and Take the Long Way Home during their sets. You know, I know that irked Mr. Hodgson for sure. There was a lot of talk about that in the press and everything. But, what can you do? All right, going down to number six, I've got Goodbye Stranger. This is the big song that Rick Davies is known for. Peaked at number 15. He wrote it, he sung it, and yeah, one of the band's best guitar solos in this song for sure. Yeah, Goodbye Stranger. It's I was always this is like one of the few Davies songs that I liked at the time, but now that I'm really discovering the catalog a little bit more deeper, starting to see more of an appreciation for what Rick Davies brought to the band. I mean, he's definitely I don't think he gets all the credit he deserves, as much as everybody always said that Roger sang all the hits and the best songs and all this and all that. I just think Rick Davies is definitely I could see why he was a little, probably upset that, Roger was getting all the spotlight and all the like the kudos and all the good things happening, and he didn't really hear it as much. Unfortunately, of course, sales, does a wonder with singles and stuff like that, but it is what it is, I guess. So we're halfway through here. Let's get our number five in real quick. We've got, of course, the title track, Breakfast in America, which was written by Roger. He wrote it years ago and kind of refined it as they brought it up for this album finally. And he actually credits Davies for the line where they go, "What she's got, not a lot." So he always gets the credit for that, which is pretty cool. So it just goes to show you how the two played off each other much better than people realize. Because, even though it shows it was written by Hodgson, obviously Rick Davies had a hand in it. And a lot of stuff that he did was help bring out the best parts of the song, and that was one of the more memorable moments during the song, the old "What she's got, not a lot" comment. Um, Another interesting note is this song did not chart in the US when it was released as a single until the live version was released back in January of 1981, which was for the Paris tour, um, where it reached number 62 at that point. And another thing, I didn't even realize how short this song was, even though I've known this song for years. It clocks in under 3 minutes, making it the shortest song on the album. And for some reason, I never realized how short this song really was. It was an interesting note there. So sometimes you learn stuff you just never thought you would. So that's what I've got for number five, Breakfast in America. Four, I've got my take on what is hands down the best Rick Davies song that I like at the moment, and that's "Oh Darling." Really love this song. I've come to really, really appreciate it. I really love this one. And yeah, just a great song here. He really wrote a gem here that I really enjoy. This one, everything's good on it, from the music to the playing and the vocals, the lyrics. It's just one of those great songs that another one that you figured, that he would have done in concert after Roger left and never did for whatever reason. But yeah, so we got "Oh Darling" there at number four. Number three, we've got another Roger Hodgson gem, and probably what's the underrated gem of the whole album altogether, because it never really got no airplay or anything like that. So I'm talking "Lord, Is It Mine" at number three, and I really, really like this one. This is definitely one of the standout tracks for me. That's why I've got it so low here, and not sure where it would land on my top 10 Supertramp songs, but stay tuned because I have a feeling we might be hearing more about Supertramp down the road for sure. Number two, the song. that really was the first song that I heard on this album when it came out, and I've always loved it. It was the third single released, and this one peaked at number 10 on the charts. So another interesting note was it was the final song written for the album, and Roger Hodgson calls this one of his top 10 songs that he ever wrote. We are talking about Take the Long Way Home. And yeah, just a great song. I thought it was gonna be my number one, but then just it was tough to knock off my number one than what I got there now. So that's what happened. So Take the Long Way Home, no doubt, just a classic rock song from classic rock radio. It's one of those songs you'll always hear on classic rock 100 years from now. It's just one of those great gems. Peaking at number 10, like I said, it's no wonders just because it's just a great song. So it's going to take me down to my number one. And if you're paying attention at home, there's only one song left that I have not mentioned, and that's going to be their highest charting single ever for the band. And a very personal song for Hodgson, who wrote it. And it was about being sent to boarding school for 10 years. And if you listen to the song, you can definitely hear and see, his take on everything. And that's, of course, the Logical song. One of those great songs that, every time I hear it on the radio, it just sounds so fresh. That's the amazing thing. I'm just amazed at how fresh it sounds. Some of these songs you hear them on the radio, you go, man, that sounds old. That sounds out of date. That hasn't aged well. But no, not the Logical song. This is one of those great songs that, you'll be playing it 200 years from now, and people are just going to be marvelized at how great of a song it is. And that's what I got there at number one, a Logical song. So let's go ahead and give it a quick rundown here so we can get this all set. Number 10, Casual Conversations. Number 9, Gone Hollywood. Number 8, Child of Vision. Number 7, Just Another Nervous Wreck. 6, Goodbye Stranger. 5, Breakfast in America. We got 4, we've got Oh Darling. Number 3, Lord Is It Mine? Number 2, Take the Long Way Home. Number 1, The Logical Song. And that concludes today's episode of From the Bottom Up Supertramp Breakfast in America. Stay tuned for much more. Thank you.